Okay.
All right. So welcome to Tel 87 Smut. My name is Greg Newton. I am the co-founder of the Bureau of General Services Queer Division, along with my lovely partner, Donnie Jocum. Thank you, thank you. We also have the lovely Bonita from Paris, our intern for the fall, who's helping to keep me sane. Thank you, Bonita. For those of you who don't know, the Bureau is a queer bookstore, all volunteer, independent, that has been in existence since 2012 and has been here at the center.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. It's not your show. Shut up. So yeah, we've been here since 2014 and we do this great thing, holding this space for queer culture. So thanks for coming out tonight. We do have a suggested donation of $10, which for Tell, we split with the storytellers. So everybody gets a little bit of something to keep their lives going. So I'll pass this around. There's change in the bag. Give what you can, if you can. You can also give to us on Venmo at PGSQD, those 5 letters that are all around you, everywhere you go. So I'll pass that around. We are especially happy to have Tell back because it's been a minute.
Yeah.
I think the last one was in May
With Darlinda.
with Darlinda, guest hosted.
Yeah.
But Dre Campbell is the founder, the originator. So we're so happy to have Dre back and to have Tell back. So please give it up for Dre Campbell. It happened quickly. Yeah. Welcome. Hello, everybody. Hi. Hi. Hi, everyone. Hi. Hello. Gender fucking freaks. Porn-loving smut rubbers. I know you're rubbing smut on yourself, and that's smut. Oh, smutty, smutty, smut. That's the online people. I think there's like maybe a dog watching, and that's it. And it's probably mine. Don't go potty in the house. Just said, she's like, what's happening? Why? Oh, why? She was like trying to have her own little dog smut private time. Licking the jennies. Just licking the jennies. Who's licking the jennies? Anyone licking the jennies? Their own. You licking your own jennies? What if you can't reach it? Are you like relay jenny licking? Anyone? No, nobody relates. They're like, no, I'm not doing it like that. I'm sorry. That's not how we do jenny licking in my book. Oh, but for reals, who was familiar with the word smut prior to coming here tonight? In general. And who was not? No shame of any kind anywhere, ever. Not, you didn't know about smut. Oh, honey, no. It's fun. I said,
I thought you were saying lying about not knowing.
oh, right. Who is not telling the truth? No? Okay, just checking. Who's lying all the time? Anyone? Yes, all of us. Queer people do have to lie a lot, or did have a period of time. For most queer people did have to lie, right? Childhood times, shame times, closety fun times, right? We lied! We survived! Oh, rubbing ourselves with smut. Looking at smut, reading smut. How many people have a preference over looking at smut? Like you need the visuals if you're gonna engage with smut.
Yes.
You like to see the visuals. And then how many people like to read really dirty stuff, like to get off reading? Yes, I love that. Yes, reading this. Oh, and we have an intellectual in the house. Oh, the academics have shown up tonight. The academics are reading the smut. It's a literary crowd. We're in a bookstore, and that's how we do smut. Oh, actually, last night I went to a birthday. That says bareback my heart, and I'm here for it. Ooh, what does that even mean? Okay. As a little birthday party last night, and there was just this like big sewing circle of gay men, and I just like plopped in and was like, "Hi, how's it going?" Blah blah blah. And my friend was like, "Oh, Dre has a show tomorrow night." Blah blah blah. Oh, it's a storytelling show. What is it? Blah. Oh, and it's a different theme. Everyone's like, "Oh, well, what's the theme this month?" Smut. And they were like, "Yeah, great. That's cool." And I was like, just blah, 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 keep talking. And then like 10 minutes later, this kid, the guy next to me, is like, "I have to confess something. I didn't know what smut was." And I said it to my boyfriend or maybe his date or whatever. And he goes, and he said he didn't know either. And they giggled and it was so fun. And I loved it. Oh, and it was so smutty. And I was like, they were like in the corner, like Googling, like, oh, like, I wonder what Google told them. Smut is an old school word, I think, right?
Yeah.
Is porn smut?
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
Rudy, yes. Unequivocal. If it's good, okay. I feel like smut is like an accusation sometimes, right? No? Yes? But porn is not. I feel like porn's a thing. Although, speaking of accusations from insane people, those are happening a lot in the street. Anyone? Thanks. Yep. Renee. I was at Queer Reese Beach. Actually, this is a little bit of a trigger warning because I got kind of Karen'd at Reese Beach this summer because if anybody goes to Queer Reese Beach or follows, there's some stuff going on, like it's changing, and there's like local people that live there seem to be like a lot of rich white cops who are sort of starting to like look for reasons why we're all like
with their drones.
That's right, with drones. And so I was just at the beach, and then people go to Reese Beach, they get naked, they live their free queer lives. It's like one of the few like truly pure queer spaces, in my opinion. It's like you get to be out on the beach, jennies are out, titties are out, whatever you need, And nudity is not pornographic per se, as we all know, as human beings. So anyway, there was this like Karen couple photographing some naked people next to me from afar. Just, that's it. They were talking like that. And I just like clocked them, and they were just. And I went up to them and I was like, "Could you stop taking photos of naked people? It's really perverted. It's really sick that you're doing this, and something's wrong with you." We got in an argument. Of course we did. And she claimed that there was fornicating happening. Well, they're fornicating. Okay, nobody's fornicating. You don't even know what that means, lady. Okay, yes. Thank you, Ed McMahon. Thank you. Yes. Is that yes. And they called the police on me because I told them to, I got in an argument with them, and I told them to stop photographing naked people without their knowledge, for one. And they were like, "Well, they're not supposed to be." It's a bunch of bullshit. And the cops came, but the cops, thank goodness, were relatively, mild, I guess, compared to how awful they, could have been. But they they were like, we know, it's normally okay. You know, blah, 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 but you know, they gotta put their clothes. And then while the cop was talking to us, the husband of the Karens came running over. And you know, there's like little like canopies and tents that you set up when you're at the beach. There was a person under a canopy, topless, and he went under and he was like, there's another one right there too. To make sure the cops saw her. Like, what are you? And also being topless with breasts is legal in New York, but who cares? Like, so then so that happened. That felt like, to me, like the old school version of smut. Like, put that smut away. It's the devil's papers. It's very that. And it's like full on, you know, for facts that it's just hypocrisy, that there's some kind of sick shit going on in that house that they are obsessing with, like queer bodies. And you know, that's some smutty shit. And they are the real smut. If smut is bad, but I'm here to say smut is good. So maybe they're not. So fuck that. I'm just working it out as I talk. Stream of consciousness. Shimmying, moving the hips. Anyway, oh, and by the way, I always like to, and I feel like they sell so many amazing books here at BGSQD. I always like to promote that they have the Butch Lesbian coloring books. I love them with my whole heart. So this is the Butch lesbians of the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And this is the 20s, 30s, and 40s, folks. And let us not forget the constitution. It's all just information. It's information. Anyway, who's ready to hear some storytellers? Yeah. Is our first, I'm going to read a little bit about you. Is that okay? Yay, I'm very excited to have this storyteller up. They've never been here before to tell a story. I'm very excited, but give me a minute to find their information. Oh, good times. Everybody wonderful, and you and me. Hey, I can't find it right now. So I'm gonna just say, by way of introduction, that they are a playwright. They're a wonderful person. And I'm very excited to have you here. Please, everybody, give it up for Rudy Ramirez.
Hi, everyone. I drove down from Massachusetts today to be here, so thank you for having me. Please put money in the bag so I don't have to live in Massachusetts anymore. This presentation contains spoilers for the Fall of the House of Usher on Netflix. But the thing is, I don't feel bad about it because stuff that's in the trailer. So like, if you've watched the trailer, you know what happens. And also for Eyes Wide Shut, and that movie came out in 1999. So if you haven't seen it yet, don't, because it sucks. And if you have seen both of these things, you might know what I'm going to be talking about, which is that it's spooky season. And spooky season has reminded me that that for straight people, there is no sex more dark and decadent and tinged with malevolence than an orgy. Like, so if you, because I've been listening to this podcast about film history, and that's where like Eyes Wide Shut came back into my orbit. And it's also the narrator is hilarious because she's doing this whole like series on sex thrillers of the 80s and 90s. And she decided that the best way to do this by overpronouncing all of her consonants. She's like, welcome to Erotic 90s. Today we'll be talking about Stanley Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut. And if you don't know this movie, it's Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, that paragon of heterosexual coupling. They and in the movie, there's this like I barely remembered it, except for this one scene I'll be talking about. And apparently, so they're a married couple in the film, and it's not even that she has cheated on him, she just tells him, I thought about cheating on you once. And this sends him into this psychosexual spiral where he's wandering the streets of New York and famously comes upon this masked sleep no more orgy. And it's a thing where like it's rich people, predominantly I think exclusively men, in tuxedos and masks, and like various sex workers, almost exclusively women. We'll get to the one who isn't. They're naked but also masked, and like it's the whole idea is that this is like the most secret, dark, sexual thing that's happening in the city of New York right now. And he wanders through, and you see like like a group of men in tuxedos standing around one guy having sex with one woman, and like the only like it's the only like lesbian sexuality that's there is absolutely the like 4 straight men version of it, where it's like everyone has like really like no long nails, and there's like kissing over masks. Like it's not even, it's like they didn't even like pull the mask up. It's sort of just like kissing with the masks on. And then the only, and of course this is what I was looking for. I was a 19-year-old homosexual. I was like, what is there gonna be any representation of queer male sexuality? So there is one scene where in the corner you see one man in a tuxedo dancing cheek to cheek with a naked man, again, both in masks. Like gangbang, male cheek to cheek dancing. It's pretty much equivalent. And like, and so then I also just watched Follow the House of Usher. And again, it's this thing where like it's the first, it's like it's for the rich people, and it's the richest people. They're paying thousands of dollars to get into this orgy, and they're gonna like, you can see like all these like children of the rich and these famous actors and athletes, all this in this big nightclub orgy, and you're paying $1,000 a head. And I'm just like, orgies cost $35. Every orgy I have been to has cost $35. And that's the thing is that it's just like, and it's what struck me is just how it's just, and when I tell, when I've told straight friends about like orgies, and they just go, orgy, just like, yeah, I've lost count. And the reason why I've lost count is because, well, I'm really slutty, but it's that I don't think that orgies are evil or decadent or other things, that they're actually like kind of wholesome sometimes in the most wonderful ways. Particularly, so the first orgy I ever went to was not a great experience because it was like Craigslist era orgies. And it was in Austin, Texas, where I lived for a very long time, and it was advertised like a party for the rest of us. And I was like, where it's just like there's not sort of like barrier of like you have to have the 6-pack and the muscles and everything like that. And I went in there, and it was like, put your clothes in a trash bag like you do. And it was just like it was my first time I was a virgin. And like nobody was kissing, and I'm like, I can't do this. So like it was a long time before I went to my second one, which is the bear party that happens here. Wednesdays, Fridays. It's changed since COVID. And so like I found out about it from someone on Growler, older guy, and we had like sort of like that kind of dad boy flirtation thing going on. It's like, yeah, I'm going to this bear party. I'm like, oh, I would like to go to that. So I'm very nervous about it. So I was like, can we meet ahead of time, and like you can like walk me in there? And so we meet where everyone meets before an orgy, which is a pret-a-manger. And because they're everywhere here. And so we meet there, and I'm like, I do not have coffee because you're going to an orgy. And so we go in together and very quickly get into it. And I'm amazed that not only is it like guys who look like me, but it's also guys who don't, who are into me. And that makes a huge difference. And it was really like in these spaces that I really started understanding my own hotness. Like I do think, that there is in a lot of public gay spaces, just like, I mean, people like whenever people are just sort of like, oh man, like, apps are killing the bars. I'm just sort of just like, I can't hear anything in a bar. I can't tell if someone's flirting with me. It's always very intimidating. I'm kind of a shy person. I like apps for that, but I like orgies even more for it because that everybody is there to have sex. And so I was struck by how, in this environment, I at first was like, having people come up to me wanting to touch my body, wanting to experience that was wonderful. And then eventually I started having enough courage to go and do the touching myself and have been surprised at the ones I've been to that, the kind of guys who I normally think to myself, just like, oh, I would never flirt with that guy on the street because, body difference, were very open to me doing various things to them, which I want to talk a little bit about orgy etiquette, because it's important. First of all, I think that orgies should not be overplanned, because I was messaging this one guy over apps for a while, and we met up, and he was like, so there's this orgy happening tonight with a Roman theme, and it's just like, oh, that's us. Yeah, I have a ticket. I don't think we can go. What do you want to go? In my bus, like, yeah, absolutely. So we have sex first, and the sex is really great. I love it. And so I'm just like, all right, I've already had sex, so no pressure going into this orgy. I go in, and there's a lot of cardboard columns that are very Party City everywhere. There's someone who is dressed as a satyr, full big thick woolen pants, and I think horns up here. And we start by saying it starts with a history lesson. And the things that you do not want in an orgy as a history lesson, especially if that history is inaccurate. Because I am an extremely nerdy person. And it was all I could do not to be just like, excuse me, that's not actually true of the Roman Saturnalia. And so then it was like, all right, so they're like, okay, so what we're gonna do is you're going to write down on this index card what your fantasies are for tonight. What do you want to have happen to you? And I was like, okay. So you have to understand this was orgy lighting. Orgy lighting means that there was very, very low lighting. So we're given an index card and crayons, honestly, and asked to write down our fantasies. And then we were told, okay, now break up into small groups. And there is nothing less sexy than breaking up into small groups. That is deeply triggering for anyone who's ever been to a conference. And so, we have to shuffle our cards, and it was like, all right, designate someone to read out the fantasies. And no one in my group is volunteering. And ever since I was in second grade, I'm the person in groups who volunteers for things. It's like, all right, I'll read them. I am having to read everyone's handwriting, writing out their sexual fantasies by candlelight, and then I have to manage rolling dice to determine which fantasy gets picked for us to act out. And at that point, I'm just like, the better part of the evening was having sex with that one guy just by myself. So I kept doing it, kept having sex with this guy, and then started actually going out with this guy, and got to this point where I was very excited because I was finally going to get to go to not an orgy but close, which is the pheromone party that happens here, which is specifically an armpit oriented party. And this is another place where I think orgy etiquette is important because like when I eventually got, well, as I've been there, there's one time that I was there and I was, you know, in the back room with various guys, and like this guy grabs my wrist, pulls me over, and just slathers my entire hand with lube, which means that I've been presented with a choice. And on the one hand, I can, you know, set a boundary, but also have to go wash things off, or I could try something new. And I did. It was it was much more fun for him, very massagey for me. Like it's like oh, this my hand feels better now. But when I was on the way to the party for the first time, the pheromone party, I was feeling very nervous because again, it's that this, you know, when you go to a new orgy, you're always nervous about it. You know, what's the vibe going to be like? And this feeling again, kind of down on myself as I often do. And this guy, I messaged this guy about it, and he was like, you know, I was like, no, go and have fun. You're sexy. You're wonderful. They're gonna love you. Have a great time. And reading the text message, I thought to myself, you know, all I've ever really wanted was someone who, by being with him, I feel more free than I am alone. And reading that text message, I was like, I think I found someone who fits that bill. And it's 2.5 years now, and would not have known that if not for orgies. So I am here. Thank you so much.
Yes. We love a smutty love story filled with orgies. Yes, give it up. Yes, thank you. I love that. So many notable quotable. There was, what was the one that, what did I say back there? I was like, that's a quote. Do you remember? Anyone? That's great. Oh man, there were so many notable quotables. I just want to read you a little bit about Rudy since I didn't before. Rudy Ramirez is a director, writer, and teaching artist specializing in the development of new work and new artists. They have directed and developed work for a number of organizations around the country, including Contemporary American Theater Festival, the LARC, Latino Theater Company, National Queer Theater, NYTW, New York, NYU, Octopus Theatricals, Playwright Center, and on. They are the associate artistic director of the Vortex in Austin, Texas, where they were named Best Director of 2017 in the Austin Chronicle Readers Poll. Yay, Rudy, give it up. Thank you again. Loved it. Oh man, so many good smuts. Okay, are we ready for our next storyteller? I'm excited for this storyteller. I'll tell you a little bit about them. Diana Labantu is a Romanian-American playwright, actor, administrator, and educator based in Brooklyn. Diana holds a playwriting MFA, ooh, fancy, from Brooklyn College, graduated from Wellesley College with a BA in theater studies and psychology. So they're reading you. In addition, they are an adjunct professor in creative writing and playwriting at Brooklyn College and NJIT, respectively. They're interested in exploring the intersections of masculinity, power, failure, oppression, absurdity, and an ongoing fixture of the human condition. Everybody, please give it up for Diana Labantu.
Just kidding. Everybody. I'm so happy to be here. Dre asked me to do the show, and I was like, and said that it was about smut, and I said, I hope I lose my virginity before the show, so I'm something to talk about. Little joke. I'm a little demon. I love to go on dates and tell people that I'm a virgin. I've never done this before. It's like when you can tell that you can fuck with somebody, like they have no sense of humor, and you're like, yeah, I'm a virgin, I've never had sex, don't know what to do with my hands. And I keep referring back to it as the night goes on. If sex ever comes up, I'm like, oh, what's that? I don't know if I know. You're gonna have to teach me a lot. And then if we do have sex, I'm like, it's pretty good for my first time. I also like to tell people that I'm an ally. Yeah, I can grade today. It's really fun. At some point in everyday date, somebody will be like, "Oh, what's your sign?" And I'll be like, "What's that?" And they'll be like astrology, and I'm like, "Yeah, well, what's that?" And they'll be like, "Oh my God, are you even gay?" Oh, no, I was lying. Dating in Brooklyn is hell itself. Yeah, literally. I don't do myself any favors because I have such a type, you guys. I have such a type. If you look like you skateboard, badly, in that situation, I am ready to go. I love a non-binary shitbag. These people will never text you back and somehow make it about you not respecting their mental health boundaries. Yeah, it's good to be seen. It's good to be seen. I've had the experience of somebody setting up a date. I show up to the date, they do not show up. They text me 4 months later, like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. My mental health was so bad then. Like, I'm sorry, I totally let the ball drop. If you want to reschedule, let me know." I've been stood up by 6 non-binary shitbags since you. My number 7. Like, fucking tree or sock or rock, where the fuck is messing up my life right now? Is that going to the story time? What are you doing next week? Yeah, let's meet up, sure. I do have to say I'm off the market. I have a partner. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, Stephanie. How are you, Stephanie? How was your day? I love crowd work. You want to get a drink later? No? Yay, back on the market. The last date I went on before Stephanie and I U-hauled it to hell and back was I met this woman on Tinder. She was from San Francisco and was coming to stay in New York for like a couple of days on vacation. She was 41, which is hot. I said, great. I hadn't had sex in 4 months. I said, well, let's do this. Everything's going fine. We're like texting, just being like, you know, like, I don't know, we'll go to this bar, we'll do X, Y, and Z. And at some point during the day before the date, she texts me and she's like, oh, haha, by the way, how tall are you? And I was like, what? I'm sorry, I didn't realize like we were straight. Like, okay, I don't know, like, if the salmon in my picture was real, like, no, it was a photo op. I was like, yeah, you know, like I'm 6'7". And she was like, she did not laugh at all. She was like, oh, that's very cool. Well, you know, like I'm 5'3" and I don't date anybody over 5'6". And I was like, that's crazy. Thank God I'm 5'6". It's also really funny that she was obsessed between the difference between 5'3" and 5'6", and not the difference between 41 and 27, which I show up to the date. She's like, meet me at the Alligator Lounge. Did you guys know the Alligator Lounge? Yes, the rehearsal. Yes, I said, great show. You should watch it if you haven't. The rehearsal, Nathan Fielder. I was like, oh my God, like the rehearsal? And she's like, I'm not rehearsing anything. No, like the TV show. And she's like, oh, I don't watch TV. It's like, great. So I meet her. I go to the Alligator Lounge. She tells me some things about her. She is a lawyer. She does not work for Google. Is doing this right. She defends Google in civil lawsuits. Yeah. She's a top. She's been about 69 times on the date. And she's working through a lot of toxic masculinity. Clearly, I said this could be great. I think awesome. She asked me how I identify in the bedroom. And some smut about me is I am a switch. I love to switch. Thank you so much. However, on this particular night, I hadn't been touched in 4 months, and I said to it's hierarchy of needs, you know what I mean? Where it's like at the top is like hot butch switch for me, and I was operating at the very bottom. Like I was like, if I don't get a little kiss tonight, I'm gonna kill myself. So I was like, how do I? Okay, clearly she's a top, whatever. How do I like make it seem like yeah? Like I was like, yeah, I like to take the lead from other people, whatever, I don't know. And she goes, oh, cool. She kind of bought it. Her ex was texting her and she said, oh, sorry, my ex is texting me. Let's go to a second location. My ex. I was like, okay, this is going well. She clearly bought it. She was like, it's a bar that is red. Are you down? What a top, huh? No other information besides that. I was like, yeah, sure, okay. We go to this bar. Her ex, Audrey, is there, which, by the way, is the name of my ex. It's fun. Her ex is there with about 5 other lesbians. They're all like there together, like they're kind of like one pile of lesbians. And on the other side of the room are these like 3 like straight men who look like they just kind of came off their shift and are just like watching the lesbians, having a great night. And then it's me and my date. I kind of, oh, and it was also very red. It was a very red bar. It's true. I was like, oh, I'll get you a shot. Like, let's do that. Not realizing that's probably a bad thing to do if I want her to think that I'm a popular. And I bought her a shot, and then I was like, oh, fuck, oh my God, I gotta go back. And so I let her talk to me for about 10 minutes about how we can't get well tequila. We have to get this particular brand of tequila that she wanted that cost me $50. Yeah, it was great, super awesome. Anyway, I look over and Audrey and the other lesbians are all like making out, like with each other. The men are like drooling into their glasses. They're just like having a great time. And you know what? What's the time? I'm gonna kiss her. What's the worst that can happen? And so I kiss her. And she doesn't pull away exactly. But it's not good. It's like, you know, like when you're okay, I don't actually kiss like this, but just for illustrative purposes, like if somebody's like let's say like that's me. If somebody responds to that and goes, like, you know, they're not very into it. She pulls away and she goes, you know, I have a son about your age. There's like a little man in my head and he's like wearing a dunce cap. And he's like, I'm trying to add it all up, but it's not adding up. Like why I'm at this bar, but she's treating like this, but she's like into it, but she's not, but she's telling me about her son who's my age. And he's like trying to like work it out on a chalkboard. But he doesn't have chalk, it's just like his nails. And he's like screaming. He's like, like that's how I'm feeling. I say, I have to go. I'm so sorry. And she's like, oh, I'll walk you out. I said, you don't have to do that. It's me fine. She's like, oh, I want to. And the man screamed in my head. I said, oh my God. And so she walks me out and I just turned to her and I'm so drunk at this point. And I'm just like, I don't understand. Like, what do you want? And she's like, it's not that I'm not into you, but I can tell you're not a bottom. And I think that I would only disappoint you because I would top you and then you would want to top me and I wouldn't want that to happen. And I was like, no, I wouldn't. No, I fucking wouldn't. I haven't been touched in so long. I certainly, my hands are up here. I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything, lady. I can choose to not talk if I want to. Please stop me. I was like, say that. Words. Like I don't know the order of the progression of things, but I was so drunk. But at some point in the night, this woman grabs me by the throat and like pushes me up against the wall and is like, I'm not gonna fuck you, and then leaves. And I said, you kind of just did. I will never see her again. I will always remember her. She will be my heart, my San Francisco top. And anyway, people like that are why I'm saving myself for marriage, you guys.
Give it up for Diana. Nothing like a San Francisco top. Nothing like it, honey. Just a choke and run. That old trick. Anyway, we're gonna take a little break, but before we do, I'm gonna pass the little bag. We're gonna take like 3 minutes. You can like take a breath, take a pee-pee, buy a book, whatever you want to do. There's amazing stuff here. And then we're gonna have our final storyteller for the night.
I'll try not
If-
to monopolize.
If you go, we're back.
Yeah, just give me a thumbs up.
Welcome back. I love you, smutty people. You slutty people. You strutty people down the road. Smutty, slutty, strutting. Hi, I just made that up. Just Smut the musical. That's the opening number. There's a bunch of clowns, smutty, smutty, smutty times. We're shaking our jennies and we're making it rhyme. Hey, balls and pussies and dicks galore. Come on into my smutty store. That's it. And we're in the smutty store. Ah, yes. Love that for us. Dicks a poppin'. Remember back in the day, the first 7 years I did this show, there were nothing but dicks on the wall. And we loved that. No, there were clitty dicky clintons, dicky pussins, every manner of jennies. And that's why I'm still here. That's why we're all still here in this little queer boat, just going down the river. Just rowing with dicks, using pussies as sails. I'm working on an animated feature. It's a children's show for Disney. Can't wait till that strike is over. Woo. And we won't be using AI for that, I'll tell you. Not that. Imagine porn AI. It's like once the pussy's like, oh, we got your pussy, we're done. But be using this pussy for the rest of your life. You don't have to do that. Actually might be in good for some people. Like, oh, no more. You just pay for the pussy. What a dick. Oh, the ass or whatever, the titties. Hey, just pay us. Hey, that's literally what everything's about right now. It's about being pay us. Anyway, speaking of pay us, is our next storyteller ready?
I don't.
Oh, you are. Everybody loves you. You're the reason that this house is packed tonight. I'll tell you that. Am I right? Yes, absolutely. I was like, woo, we can pack the house. Oh, it's Renee. Okay. Renee Imperato is a Stonewall era veteran. She's the reason we're here. Period. And done. Chairperson of the Sage Advisory Council and a member of People's Power Assembly, as well as a facilitator of the, what's it called?
Transgenerational Theater Project.
Transgenerational Theater Project. Everybody, please give a kind, warm, lovely welcome to Renee Imperato. You want a chair? What do you need? You want me to move this? Do you want a chair?
No.
Okay. Take it
I
away,
know.
Julie.
So anyway, here I am at the corner of 23rd Street and 7th Avenue by that papaya joint. And I got this like in the rain with this fucking $1.25 taco in my hand, trying to convince this guy the absurdity that there's only 17 and a half genders. And he said, oh my goodness, oh, how many can there be? And I said, oh, there can be many. You're one of the halves. Anyway, I do have a cue card. It's certainly not going to put all these in 15 minutes. Let's see, Central Park, 220 Club. Oh, fuck this bitch. They owe me money. As some of you may know, I was a taxi driver from 1972 to 1999. I did try to make money driving the taxi. But I have to say that when I didn't make enough money on the meter, I made it in the back seat. I had plenty of paper towels and Windex. So let me say, so anyway, I remember I pick up this guy like at the corner of like, I don't know, I remember 71st Street and Madison Avenue, right? And he says, I'm going to 80th and Broadway. And I said, fine. And, this is, by the way, a lot of street configurations were different in the 70s, 80s, even the 90s. And so we're driving not through the transverse, but where you can go through Central Park, and you pass that fucking fountain that's been like in 100 movies. And then there was this parking lot, right? And he says, could you pull over here for a minute? And I said, okay, and then I said, so now what is it you want? And he says, well, I thought we'd have sex. And I said, I just had sex. And it was about an hour ago and it was right here. Anyway, these are the kind of people you get in a taxi. I mean, I can tell you, there is a documentary called Renee. You can see it on YouTube. I won't mention some of those stories. I mean, Trey, can I be vulgar? Oh, so anyway, does anybody remember some of these clubs like the Gilded Grape? That's how far back I go. Yeah, that was actually the first gay club I was ever in. And at that time, by the way, kind of the word transvestite was, kind of already drifting out. In a lot of circles, transvestite was like pre-op, transsexual was like post-op. I mean, all these phrases, I can't keep up with this fucking shit. But anyway, so many drag queens. Yeah. Does anybody here have a problem with the word drag queen? Okay. Because, my son said I have the most unusual family. My mother's a butch queen and my mother's a bull dyke and my daddy's a butch queen. And that was kind of before, because before that, really what I was like starting really in 1972, I was what a lot of us trans girls are. We were like unconscious male impersonators, which is not as bad as a conscious. And I worked in many clubs. I mean, my God, Mary. I mean, does anybody remember the 220 Club? Oh, I see a hand up there, Bob Williams. Thank you. The 220 Club was like the first known, I could say trans, after hours club, but hey, the language of the day was drag queen. So I worked there. It's actually the building, believe it or not. I went by the building. It's actually still there. I couldn't believe it. Right across from the Film Forum. And that was back in the day when if you worked in any club, you didn't pay for any club and you didn't wait online. But can't say it's the same thing now. Anyway, so, it's getting fucking hot in here. Is it the fucking body heat? Anyway, thank you all for your contributions. Hopefully I'll get a contribution in about 5 or 6 hours. Oh, fuck this. Jesus fucking Christ. Anyway, I got a big mouth, I know. So I recently went to this thing called CTI conference because my ex-roommate dominatrix was doing a tour. This was the fucking weirdest fucking conference I ever been to in my fucking life. I mean, you had whores, actors, musicians, extreme Protestant Sunday school women, every fucking category. So I'm waiting for my ex, well, we're good friends, Anyway, so I'm waiting for her to go on, and this woman gives this religious rant that you would not fucking believe. And I knew that my friend Layla was going next. And I thought, boy, how is she gonna follow that up? Being a sex worker. And so she goes to the mic and in the most appropriate contrast says, sex work is work. Sex work is work. Blowjob is blowjob. And it's a hard job. So now we're sitting at the same table. We've made quite an impression. If you know what I mean by impression. And I gotta pee, right? So I go with my friend and we go into the women's room, and here's this woman coming out and says something like, you're in the wrong bathroom or something. And I said, maybe you are, right? And so now, you know how it is. When I was a male impersonator, you ever notice the bathroom for men? It's all quiet. I kind of stand by the urinals. They look straight ahead at the tile. Like women's room, total opposite. We can't shut the fuck up. So anyway, so now we finish yakking, after the pee flowed. And we go out into the hall, and this woman had called the police. And they're waiting for me to come out of the bathroom, right? So the only problem with I'm not the greatest fan of cops. I want to preface that. Anyway, who are the two cops that show up? Lesbians. With the pride pin, on their uniform. And I'm standing there and I see that she's talking to this woman. And so I'm thinking, okay, they're gonna probably walk over, this boring shit. And she comes over and approaches me like no cop approaches. Listen, I really don't want to bother you. But this woman here was sort of trying to complain about, you being in the correct bathroom. I like that. And so anyway, what she does is she's standing there, and then, there's kind of a laughing back and forth, and she must be thinking, what the fuck is going on here? Right? And so I say to the cop, look, I know that you enlighten them as to what the laws are in New York. She says, don't worry, you got the right cop. So just to say, it was really actually fabulous. The whole conference united behind me. I was shocked. And I thought, boy, I'll tell you what, compared to 1972, honey, when I started driving a cab, I was like 24 years old, and driving a taxi at night. Just a whole lot of fucking and sucking, honey. I got so many fucking stories. I could outdo some of these pros on the fucking Comedy Channel. So anyway, why did I write down 50 Shades of Grey? That should have really been called 50 Shades of motherfucking bullshit, right? And coming from a trans girl drag queen, dominatrix. Yes. I highly not recommend it. And geez, I wrote a few things here. I can't fucking remember what it was about. And anyway, so I'm driving the cab, and all of a sudden, I get to 53rd Street between 2nd and 3rd. If anybody remembers, that was a prostitute strip, like back in the 70s, 80s, even 90s. And so it turns out there was this guy on the sidewalk, and he was talking to this young, gorgeous guy. And I kind of pulled up, and no, and kind of unprofessional, but taxi, you know, and suddenly we're competing for this fucking job, right? And well, let me just say this. The other guy, what's his name? Paul, I think. So many names, so many lists. And we wound up actually becoming sort of a couple, polyamorous. And I'll tell you, you know, you could really, let me tell you this. I only got pinched once driving a taxi with a John in the back at this old parking lot, 29th Street between 11th and 12th at the time. West Street used to be called 12th Avenue. And so it's 2 o'clock in the morning. All of a sudden, here's the fucking cop car behind me, and I'm like, fuck, I hadn't really been doing it that long, you know? So the cop comes over to me and he says, look, how smart do you think it is? It's an empty parking lot. It's January. You got the motor running and you're in the middle of a parking lot. Fortunately, before he could arrest me, right, he got like some emergency call and he had to take off. After that, I did almost all my work on the sidewalk. Not on the sidewalk, parked next to the sidewalk. It's amazing how much sex you can have in a car. You know, I mean, really, pissing, fucking every fucking thing. And because remember, I had the Windex and the paper towel. Because like 80% of the people, they don't want to, don't know you're there, but most of them, they don't want to like look in because they don't think you might see them looking in, right? And then you get, of course, people like might be us in there staring. And I had all my spots. You can see it on my film on YouTube. 18th Street, 9th and 8th, Charlton Street. I had all these fucking spots figured out. And I'll tell you the truth, a lot of nights I made more money, you know, off the meter in the back seat than I did on the meter. Thanks to my profession. Like my boyfriend, the one I met on 53rd, he had these fucking clients. I mean, the money. I mean, I thought, one time I picked up this guy with this woman and young guy. I mean, I must have been 44 or so at the time. And he says, well, you know, I'm straight, but you know, every once in a while I get confused. So I put my finger, did I put my finger up his butt? No. I didn't even do that. You know what I did? He asked me to squeeze his ass cheeks, right? Across the street from the post office on 23rd Street. And I tell you, 30 seconds, I made $125. And I thought, this is fucking easy money. This is 30 years ago. So in final, I go back, I meet my boyfriend. This is when I was more, you know, I got tired of these fucking men, I gotta tell you. You know, hey honey, the future is fat, it's right there on my hand. So finally, I have to tell you this. So I said, Paul, man, I had the easiest fucking trip. And he said, you had the easiest trick. This bitch got, are you ready for this guy? $250 in 1990. And all he wanted to do was shave my boyfriend's ass. Now, I want to tell you, I might do that shit now. Anyway, any more of these long ass stories, check it out on YouTube. And it has a very original title called Renee. Thank you all for coming.
Mayor Parado! Oh my gosh. With the real taxi cab confessions. I love hearing those little moments of queer history of like that building that was over there that's now like a city bank, like dicks were just flying out and slapping people. People are just hanging assholes out of cabs, just shave it, fuck it, do something, I'm driving. Just, yes, the New York we love, the New York we miss. Oh, yes, Renee, Stonewall Vet. Queer genius, love, elder, and femme of life. Yeah, okay, let's have all the queer storytellers who were here tonight come up and take a little bow because you're all geniuses and you deserve respect and love. Come on up here, Renee. And some friend of mine better take a photo. We're bowing, honey.
Yes, all of us.
Yes, all of us. Yay, all of us together. Look at these gorgeous buds. Rudy, Diana, Renee. Oh, yay, smuts. Bunch of smutty queers. Yay, and say goodbye to our online, the two people and my dog. Oh, look at this, come on in.
Oh. Wait till out appears.
Ooh, hey, thank you. We'll be back third Saturday of every month and we have a podcast, so yeah, it's on all the platforms. Thank you.